listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This morning I'm with Alun Cochrane and Holly Walsh has joined us. So I'm going to do it. Hooray for Holly Walsh! You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. That's like if Jeff Goldblum read it out.
If Jeff Goldblum was from Birmingham.
Well, yeah, I bet he can do a Birmingham accent, Jeff Goldblum.
Is it typically called Bloom? I thought his name was Goldblum. Have I got that wrong?
No,
Have I been getting that wrong?
Jeff Goldblum is from Birmingham.
Oh, I see.
Goldblum.
Blum. I think that's
no
how
one's
people...
ever called him Jeff Blum.
People have definitely
Never called him that. I don't know, maybe at the Royal Anagram Society.
I think he is widely called Jeff Goldblum.
Is that, what do you think, Holly?
I actually think... Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh,
you'll never work again.
No, I'm a big champion of democracy.
I've lost my bearings now, and that is so abstract to me.
I think it's a blooming cheek. Oh, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's it then. Anyway, my point is that Jeff Goldblum, his acting technique...
And we're back.
is to say a sentence in a way that no one would ever stress it. So if he said, good morning, how you doing? He'd say, good morning, how are you doing? That's his method.
Now you sound like Christopher Walken.
To you? You mean Christopher Walken? As I walked in this morning, I walked from Covent Garden to Golden Square, which is where we reside at Absolute Radio. A walk of, I would say, some 17 minutes.
Right. Is that you or Google Maps or...?
This is just me.
Right.
Keeping an eye on the watch because I was anxious not to be late.
Uh-huh.
And at my side, this is what makes me think today is going to be a good day, because at my side landed, I would say, the largest deposit of bird excrement I've ever seen land. I mean, I don't know what the bird was. I think it was above the clouds. It might have been a plane emptying its load. But it was absolutely... Its one redeeming feature is when it landed, the sound it made when it landed was a little bit like applause. But it was like, first of all, shocking, and then, like, I really felt like an enormously good omen that it didn't land, because it was like 2 feet from me.
Isn't it supposed to be good luck if you get hit, though?
Yeah, but I think I think I might have gone to my knees if this had hit me. Really, I think there might have been some bruising. It was an enormous deposit. So, it's really set me up for the day.
A near-death experience.
Yeah. Well, a near-dong experience, if you can get bird dong. Do you get bird dong? 8, 12, 15. Yeah. So, that was my... And then... this was what time would this have been? I arrived here at about 10 to 7. There was some character going around Piccadilly Circus, I mean literally around the roundabout, on roller skates, with a selfie stick, filming himself going round. He was doing spins and all that sort of stuff. 10 to 7 in the morning.
It's a good time to do it, though.
Yeah.
Less traffic.
Well, I'm sure that was his policy.
Less condescending stares. Probably only got one from you.
Still didn't get 0, did he?
Well, from me, I just... My only stare was sort of as if to say, why haven't you got a hangover? I could barely walk that time of a Saturday morning for some 25 years, and here was a young man doing reverse spins on roller skates.
Yeah.
Anyway, I look forward to seeing that on Face Tangle. There'll be something called that.
Yeah.
Something called Face Tangle, Ollie?
I think it's pronounced Face Tangel.
Yeah.
I think it's pronounced Facebook. I've completely messed it up. It's a bit low key this morning.
I've enjoyed it. I like the Jeff Goldblum bloom.
I'll try and up it. Can you get me a Barocca? We'll sort this out once and for all.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah.
There's a few people on Twitter, I've noticed, and text backing you up on the blooms.
Aye, aye, aye.
How are they doing that, though? Are they spelling it like B-L-U-M or B-L-double-O?
They're writing gold-bloom.
Oh, okay.
So it's very clear.
That's
and then
good,
it
yeah.
No
they're
messing
saying
around.
it rhymes with spume.
That well-known rhyme.
If there's any
Bloom and
if there's any
spume.
whalers listening,
Oh,
What is
yeah.
a spume?
it's that thing that comes out. Well, it's like a squirt of water, isn't it?
No, that's
Like-
a flume.
Like it comes out of a whale. Is that a flume? No, a flume is that thing
Spume?
that you always used to see Princess Diana on with the boys.
No, that's a logger's leap.
No,
Oh,
that was
is
a
it?
loggers. That was the flume at Thorpe Park.
No, that was
Yeah.
definitely a logger's leap. That was the logger's leap.
Was it called the Logger's Leap? But it is a log
It was a
flume,
flume.
though.
It
It's
doesn't
well known.
doesn't
It's a
stop it being
well-known.
a flume.
It's a well-known log
Call it what you
flume.
damn well like.
Yeah, but
But the spume...
what's a spume? Spumanti wines.
I thought
Is it like Ashley
spume.
Spumanti?
Yeah.
I think spume is a squirt of water,
Okay.
like a whale's thing. But I've been wrong before. I think it was 80 back in '88.
What was that? What happened then?
Oh, God. Don't ask you anything about the 80s. That's the
No,
rule.
exactly. A lot of bad things happened. I was wrong. I was certainly wrong for several years. If you think drinking's wrong,
Oh,
I know many of our listeners don't.
I just got a text. Can you confirm today's
no
show
one
is...
ever goes, ooh, when they get a text
Well, I
like
did.
that.
Can you confirm today's show is not pre-recorded by reading out this message? I thought I should, because we
it
have
then.
done some pre-records previously. Can you confirm today's show is not pre-recorded by reading out this message? That's
There you
from
go.
Steve Jones in
but
Worcester.
I'll give you an example of why he didn't need to do that.
Oh.
Because you only just got nearly missed by that bird poo.
Yeah, but how is he to know that? Although
That's
I
a very
wouldn't be
good point.
surprised if it's not on local news.
Yeah.
Such was the size of it. And what was
It
amazing?
was shot down by RAF.
You know when you used to do that, there used to be a common sort of quiz question where they'd say, if you dropped a safe out of a window and you also dropped a tomato, which would hit the floor first? And everybody said the safe because it was heavier. But in fact, according to physics, they'd hit the ground at the same time. You're aware of this?
Yes, like that. Which is heavier, a ton of feathers or a ton of gold?
Yeah, well, it's not quite the same as that, but thanks
No, it
for
is.
but it's good
But
for
it is
bringing that
though.
up.
No, it's similar.
If you dropped a ton of feathers,
like.
they'd be dispersed.
No, but not dropping, just the weight.
Well,
of
that's.
it.
I mean, I was very much on the dropping section. Holly Walsh. Say Holly Walsh is with us this morning, in a truculent mood. So now it says when this bird excrement. I don't want to go on about bird excrement all morning on breakfast.
Droppings, you could call it.
Droppings. When the droppings dropped, they didn't land simultaneously because there was a. This bird not only did an enormous drop-in, it also seemed to have disproved one of
But,
Newton's basic theories.
But here we go. When parachutists jump out of a plane, they don't all 6 of them jump out at the same time. They have to go one at a time. That's how it
No,
they get
no,
out.
but the parachute is interfering with gravity because it's using air
No, but my
currents.
point is that the way that dropping would have exited the vehicle, as it were,
Bird.
Yeah.
would have been a bit after each other.
Oh, yeah, but wouldn't they equalise in the air? Maybe they wouldn't.
Well, no, because that's what you were saying about the safe and the tomato.
Yeah.
Maybe it had ate some leaves and stuff, and some of them came down on primitive parachutes.
I'd love to have seen
some
that.
areas of the drop-in.
That would have been one of the sweetest things.
I should have checked it for skulls. I remember at school looking through excrement for skulls.
Really?
Did you do that?
No. No,
Okay.
we did not
Were
do
you
that.
a
What class was that
serial
in?
killer?
I hope biology.
It wasn't in class. That was break time. We used to do it with each other. We just wanted to find the Sandwell Skull Eater,
Was
who
the
was
football
a
burst?
local tabloid bogeyman at the time. Do you remember? Did it not reach London, the Sandwell Skull Eater story?
No. I didn't go
Where's
all that.
Samwell?
Sandwell is in the West Midlands. It's a sort of combination of West. I don't think it exists anymore. Who knows? Someone will know.
They shut
8,
it
12,
down
15.
after the scandal.
No, because it was one of these that was, they impose a geographical area when they suddenly say, oh, this is now called West Yorkshire or something like that.
Yeah.
They did that with it. But maybe the locals have fought back. Mm-hmm. It's not a word I hear. Although I do get cards at Christmas from the Mayor of Sandwell.
Yeah.
I've got the freedom of Sandwell.
Well, good for you.
As you're not even sure if it exists anymore, I'm not sure that's a...
No, but that's
how
it
are
with
you using
freedom.
that?
Does freedom exist anymore?
Well,
Good question.
8, 12, 15. Does freedom exist anymore?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You'll be pleased to know that your text in, does Sandwell still exist?
Yeah.
Has been answered. Morning all. Yes, Sandwell does exist and we're listening. That's from 483.
I think it's more menacing than that.
Dear.
Yeah.
Yes, Sandwell still exists, and we're listening. That's what it
And
is.
on the other side of the coin, we've had a text from 348, not quite so cheery. Freedom only exists when you have nothing and live nowhere. Basically when you are homeless. Sad but true. That's their theory.
Huh?
I'm not
That's
sure I'd agree with
Probably
that.
also their Tinder profile.
I thought there'd be some single people texting in and saying absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freedom. Isn't that a song? The George
Yeah.
Michael song. That'd be great if George Michael...
I was thinking of Richie Havens at Woodstock. Did this thing called Freedom, Freedom. Remember, he sort of frets the strings with his thumb. Big thumb.
I didn't go.
Enormous.
Big thumb.
Oh, God, what a weekend that was.
What was his name?
Richie Havens, he was called.
You'd probably
What
call
a
it
thumb.
Harvens.
I think he'd got the biggest thumb in showbiz. He hitchhiked from Tanzania
Did
to
he?
Woodstock.
Good
It only
for
took
him.
him a day and a half with that thumb.
Very convenient. We've
It was a
also had...
long-distance hitchhiking thumb. You wouldn't stop for it unless you could take him at least 120 miles.
780 has also texted, hello Frank, Alun and Holly. I once got out of a car and went to walk into the hairdresser's to get my hair cut, and a seagull did a massive poo in my hair. I had to run back to the car and get my mum to pick it out of my hair, then get a wash cut and blow dry rather than just a dry cut.
But you could have just had it cut out.
Do you think that's what all those, the bald men that look like friars, do you think that's what's happened to them?
Yeah.
They've just been pooed on?
Is it a tonsure?
Tonsil,
Is it?
Yeah.
That's what that hairstyle's called, yeah.
Oh, this show's really brainy, isn't it?
Well, it looks like a little nest for a seagull.
Let me just write that
Yeah,
down.
that
I don't
does
think-
look...
Tonsure.
They don't nest, though, do they, seagulls? They
Well, they-
roost.
No, they must nest.
I don't think they nest. I think they roost.
No, I tell you, they live in birds' nests on the top of boats. That's why they're called birds' nests.
They don't live in those. They just sit on stuff. I'm
Well,
going
they
to
must-
repeat
where do
that.
they
They just
sleep?
sit on stuff.
Where do they sleep? Or where do they hatch their
Well, in
eggs?
Brighton, they sleep on the dilapidated West Pier. You can see them just sitting. And I've seen them just sitting on the water at night.
Yeah, but where do they lay their eggs?
I don't know the answer to that. Where do seagulls lay their eggs? 8, 12, 15. In the sky.
How are you spelling tonsure? Sorry to drag you back, guys.
Tonsure.
S-U-R-E. Oh, tonsure. All right, yeah. Got you.
Sorted that out.
That's good for me.
I was in them. I was in Brighton, actually, this bank holiday weekend.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
Well, Hurricane Katie was also in Brighton, so it was a bit breezy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was one of those. We put my son on the scooter, and he went along the road without any propelling. He just went.
He got done for speeding.
For a moment, do you
It
think
was
you could
pretty
drive?
amazing.
That would be
It was
ace.
amazing, though. You know, they say kids in high winds. You ever heard teachers say this? And on windy days, the kids are more or less uncontrollable in class.
Oh, no.
It does something to kids and sends them a bit crazy.
I definitely think full moons have an effect on audiences. Having done
Comedy.
when I've done gigs on full moons, I think there's been a slightly more wild vibe.
Oh.
Wow, that's an exciting supernatural theory.
You never noticed that,
Never. But I wouldn't know when there was a full moon.
right? Why?
He never looks up at night. It's one of his rules.
I never look up on my way to a gig.
That's why.
I'm so crouched with trepidation. Now, I remember arriving at a gig and saying, I've just been looking at the moon, and it looked like a toenail in the sky. And it did, this crescent moon. And there was a sense of disappointment that I'd somehow de-romanticised the moon and made it mundane and domestic.
Was that
So-
your opening statement?
That was my opening, it was my opening statement, but I've never referred to the moon since at a gig. I know, once bitten.
Yeah, good to have a rule.
Yeah, God, I'll say.
I've got an interesting fact about the hurricane name thing.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Apparently, when they name storms after women, more people die than when they're named after men because
yeah.
people don't take them as seriously.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, true.
Do you know the theory about the full moon, that it's because the moon moves the sea, because it's a tidal thing, and we are largely made of water, that's why it affects people?
Really?
What about that one on commercial radio?
That's a good texture as well.
Yeah,
How much is your fluids affected by the actual phenomena?
I'll tell you what, I'd like to ask that bird that flew past me this morning. We played a bit of tidal roulette. You know that thing when you walk right up to the sea and you stand as close as you can, and every now and again you get a really big wave coming and you have to scarper post-haste or get wet feet. That I would say is Buzz's favourite game, and I've come to love it. The excitement of it, because there's genuine jeopardy, because properly wet shoes and feet is pretty horrible. It's brilliant, and there must be a system where you could work out when you're going to get the big splash.
No, but if you could, that wouldn't be the fun of it, would it?
Well, I think it's like Las Vegas is fun, except there's a few professionals who have worked out a system and make money out of it.
Yeah, but you can count things with cards. There's chance of coming up, but this isn't.
I wonder if
pattern.
it's something like every seventh wave.
Seventh wave.
What, that's big?
I don't think it's as easy as that.
No, you might be right. I'm clutching at.
I think probably the way to look at it is to look at it, isn't it? I think that's what the surfers do, isn't it? They look at it and they think, this one's going to be a big one, I'm going to surf this one.
You look about 100 metres back and then you start watching it come in.
Doesn't work. I tried that.
Right.
Because
and that's
what happens,
conclusive.
if you've had a reasonable sized one just come in, often it goes back and hits that big one and completely diminishes it. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Did you bring your pipe?
I brought my vape.
I told them to email you.
I bought my vape.
Have you got your vape?
Yeah.
You're not vaping, are you?
Maybe.
Oh.
I'm not a vapor. I've never vaped in my life.
Okay. Vaping is like, smoking and eating, in case you wonder. It's not like voguing. Come on,
no.
Vape. I bet she vapes, doesn't she? Madonna. You'd think so?
You reckon Madonna vapes?
Oh, definitely. And she's going to have some big elaborate one in the shape of a sort of naked man or something like that. Madonna and an overindulgent lifestyle.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We've got some incontrovertible evidence back on the things that you were asking about. Frank, yes, we used to count them as kids and it was more than likely every seventh wave, Katie.
Well, Sarah, our assistant producer, has just said exactly that it was... is that from Hurricane, Katie?
Yeah, that's from Hurricane Katie, who she knows her
I find
stuff.
she blows a bit hot and cold.
Very good.
Yeah, Sarah, the assistant producer, just said that. 7.
Every seventh.
I love that it's a sort of biblical number.
It's great, isn't it?
Oh, is that a biblical number?
Oh,
Yeah,
there's lots of
seven
seven
plagues.
virgins and 7 this and 7 that.
Never knew.
And the Magnificent 7, the
7-Eleven.
Right.
7
7
dwarfs.
Up.
That's not... Is that the Old Testament?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is Old Testament.
Yeah.
Also, 377 has texted, and more incontrovertible proof. Morning, Frank, Alan and Holly. I used to be a school dinner lady, and it's definitely true that the kids go mad when it's windy.
Yeah.
I mean, from a school dinner lady, there's no higher evidence available.
They know.
They know,
know.
because they see him reaching over the cottage pie and stuff. You know what I mean? When they arrive like gannets.
Yeah, she was a school dinner lady in the Dandy. Cottage pie.
Don't they have cottage
We had
pie
cottage
anymore?
Sure, they
pie.
have cottage
We had
pie
cottage
now,
pie.
yeah. Sure of
Now
it.
Jamie Oliver's sorted it all
It's
out.
probably sweet potato, isn't it? The top.
Oh, there was no turkey twizzlers in my day.
What did you eat?
Cottage pie. And fish on Fridays. It's a Catholic school. I love school dinners. I honestly thought they were probably the nicest meals I've had in my life.
Do you ever we used to have liver.
I love liver.
Why?
Oof.
Why?
Yes.
I love the texture. It's a bit like
Just looking for
savoury...
skulls in
It's like
feces
eating
again.
savoury fudge.
Oh.
It's got that same... If they made fudge out of blood, that's what liver would be.
Enjoy your
Blood
breakfast, people. Enjoy your
No one's
breakfast.
ever thought out of blood fudge.
You know, that sounds like that's the French word when you've translated it into English. It's blood fudge.
Yeah. Wasn't there a film? That was Blood Diamond, was that called?
Yeah, that was a different
Not
thing.
blood fudge.
That's yeah.
So I love that texture, that same sort of slightly granulated
Well, you know what
texture.
you'd really like? Cat food.
I've tried cat food.
What? Well, if you like liver, it doesn't surprise me.
I tried cat food and dog food at the same party. I had a drink. And I think it's a sort of double bluff, because my theory was, it's meat. If you eat it, I bet it's actually quite nice. Absolutely disgusting. And tasted exactly the same, the dog and the cat.
Can I just
it?
ask how bad the catering was at this party that
don't
they
think-
served you dog and cat food?
I didn't go to a party with catering till I was 35. I just...
Like R. Kelly,
yeah.
Ignition.
Have you met R. Kelly? She's a lovely girl. R. Kelly. If I could turn back the hands of time. Now, people will be just turning in now to Absolute Radio, and they'll think, oh, hold on a minute, I've accidentally got, kistery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, darling, he'd still be mine. R. Kelly there. Not as good as my Frank Bruno. Here we go. And yes, I know what you mean, Harry.
That's for Jeff Goldblum.
No, my
Goldblum.
Goldblum is unsurpassed. If I could turn back the hands of time.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, I've been doing gigs this week at the Soho Theatre in London. And I've been doing stand-up comedy since 1987, and I had a phenomenon that I've never had before. Maybe you guys have. There was a woman knitting in the second row.
Is that right?
Yeah. You ever had that?
No.
Maybe it's something to do with the age group I'm attracting.
Yeah.
Was she a
nowadays.
young woman or an older woman?
No, she was a older woman.
I mean, how bad was the gig going that you could hear the sound of knitting
Well, no, I
needles?
could see the regular movement. They caught the light occasionally.
Oh, you don't want that, do you?
No.
Well, it's all right actually, because
Is it?
you don't really. As she said to me, it's only a plain stitch. She wasn't doing anything elaborate, so she never really looked down.
Right.
So I don't think it stopped
There was-
her focusing on the gig.
There's no clanking of...
Yeah, well, that's
Needles.
You
what I
don't get
didn't
clanking. You might get
do.
clicking at the top end.
Just recreating it with two pens.
They don't clank. What do you think they're made of?
I don't... Well, two needles. The needles, they're not... I mean, it's
They're
not soft, is it? They're not wrapped up in wool.
Well, they are. Well, anyway.
Actually,
yes,
that's at what stage does a click become a clank?
Good point.
Yeah.
8,
loud
12, 15.
Yes. I don't know the answer to that. I think a click is a plasticky sound. The clank rings out somewhat. That would be my view.
But knitting needles are usually metal.
Is that true?
Yes, because they're needles.
Yes,
Yeah.
but Cleopatra's needle is not metal.
And that's because metal wasn't invented then.
It's your
It
gig.
damn well was.
It's your gig we're trying to protect from the
I
percussive
didn't-
sound
I
of
didn't have a
knitting
problem.
needles.
I mean, the image that comes to mind is obviously the French Revolution, where women used to
Obviously.
knit at a guillotine. Isn't that obvious?
No, that's not what I would have thought. I would have just thought
the
jumpers.
classic image of people having their heads chopped off in the French Revolution is women sitting in the front row knitting.
Oh.
Balaclavas. I used to catch them in the balaclava when they're still on the needles, and then you could get it bespoke. You could knit it absolutely so it fits. Yeah, you used to see the people hanging off the back of their handcarts, you used to get those things. Remember those things that used to earth the car so you didn't get travel sick? Do you remember those?
What would they be?
Are they like things that flap down?
They flap
Yeah,
down
I've
and
seen
touch the
those. Is that
floor.
what it was?
That was the theory. Earth the car so you wouldn't get travel sick in it.
Is that? I thought that was something that if you needed to grab hold, you could be dragged along behind a car.
Well, you could do. I don't know if you detect the weight of a dragged human being, because I find the gravel sort of makes you not that aerodynamic. So it sort of holds you back. You catch on the gravel when you're sliding along a road surface. Do you find that? So what I don't like is the hands coming out either side of the boot. You know that, the comedy hands.
Yeah, that is a... I was thinking about this the other day. That is something that really people did decide was quite bad taste, and then they stopped having them. Because I used to... Are you talking about the stick-on fingers?
Yeah, stick-on fingers.
Yeah,
so it looks like someone's trapped in
my
it.
favourite's got a car, a Peugeot, when I was about...
Stop showing off.
I used to beg them to get one of those... to get those stick-on fingers, and they always refused, and I just think it was so lame of them. But now I look back and I think, A, they were quite right not to, and B, they're terribly bad taste.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they were... it's one of those jokes, the first time you see it, you think, oh, that's a funny idea to do. And then the 8,000th time you see it, you assume the car's being driven by imbeciles.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they might have been, for all you know, it was that first one you saw that you also thought was hilarious. About that.
There's a car around the corner from me that's got those stick-on bullet holes.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, I haven't seen them for ages.
It's a really old car, but I don't think you get those stick-on bullet holes. My son wants me to get some for our car. I mean, we live in Manchester. There's a chance that there'll be bullet holes in it eventually anyway, if we just drive around enough. But I would like the stick-on ones. They'd be good. If they're still being made, can you let us know?
Do people still put the names of the two partners on the sun strip thing? Do people still have sun strips? Oh, how often on this show do I say, does something still happen? Because I'm so out of touch with what's actually happening in the world. Poor me. When I say poor, I mean spiritually. Well, actually, no. I'm not poor in any sense.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Knitting needles chatter, apparently.
That's great, that is true.
And then 044 says, certainly don't want that at your gig.
Really?
Chattering.
Oh, I see that, yeah.
See chatter?
You see, to be fair to this woman, I should add that she was knitting blankets for the Libyans.
Oh.
So I couldn't really stop her from doing
I bet
that.
she said that as if it was like a get out of jail free card.
That's a heckle comeback.
It's like when anybody's got what the rest of the audience are going to perceive as a do-gooder's job. When you say to somebody in the audience, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I help the ... And you go, oh, I can't make fun of you for the whole night, can I? You got to move along.
I like to think I've transcended that.
How's that going?
It's all right. I think the whole word "do-gooder," the fact that that's a negative.
It is terrible, isn't it?
It is terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrible.
What a person who does good. I hate that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? What crafts would you draw the line at if people were doing it during your
wickerwork?
Wickerwork.
I think that on a health and safety thing, because the sharp end of one of those pieces of wicker. You know, sometimes they spring out if you don't properly lodge them in the frame.
Yeah, I mean,
and you don't want the person adjacent to the wicker worker having to wear the safety glasses.
No.
Then they'll be thinking, Frank looks orange.
Yes.
Oh, it's these safety glasses.
I do look a bit orange since I've been teeth whitening. People are unsure whether my teeth have got whiter or my face has got darker. They're confused by it. But it was. I also thought, isn't it? It's quite warm in Libya, isn't it?
Not at night, I don't think. I think they probably need blankets.
People always say that about the desert. I was in the Sahara Desert at night. It was sweltering.
Right. Why were you there?
I was there with Comic Relief.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
The best way to
Exactly.
go.
Now we can't take the mickey out.
I'm one of them do-goodies. It's all right to take the mickey out of it. I was fine with it. It was... it was an interesting... thing, the blanket.
The knitter?
Well, you know, people knit blankets for the third world. We have transcended the blanket. No one uses blankets hardly anymore. We've moved on to the duvet.
True.
Why don't we send them duvets? It's a patronising thing to send them stuff.
Duvet.
Oh. You can't get a duvet?
You can't knit a duvet. You can't make your own duvet.
No, but we could put money in and buy them some nice duvets. Well, I don't see why they should have something that we rejected years ago as impractical.
And then that woman could fully focus on Frank's gig, save herself the knitting.
She could stitch a duvet.
Everyone's a winner.
She could have sat there putting covers on the duvets before they went out.
That would not be distracting. I'd be just happier that she just knitted.
No, actually, it's a good thing. But I was trying to work up what they really need is a sort of general duvet. because it was Libya. But I never quite got there on the night.
I'm not sure you've quite got there some days later.
No, but you two are a tough crowd. Part of it, professional rivalry. Part of it that you, because of your own experiences, you've come to hate comedy in general. It's an uphill struggle.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
And we're ready to go right here on Absolute Radio on Saturday morning. The sun's shining, I'm feeling great. If you want to text the show, we're on 8 12 15, or follow the show on Twitter @Frank on the Radio. Or you can email the show the old-fashioned way via the Absolute Radio website. Okay, that's what they want, the readers.
And that's what you gave them.
Yeah, but I mean, they want that for 3 hours, ideally.
Oh, exhausting.
Yeah.
If I could keep that up for 3 hours, I could go to any radio station in the country.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you arguably could go to any radio station in the country. They just wouldn't let you on unless you did that.
No, I could go there as a visitor.
Yeah. You get a visitor's pass from front desk, have a little look in.
Stand outside with an autograph book.
Uh-huh. And then...
And when people come out, don't ask for an autograph. Say, why do you talk in that voice?
No, what you should do is you should sign the autograph book, tear out a page and give it to them.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That'd be lovely. I could have I could have a toilet roll. It's already serrated.
Yeah.
Do you know what? There probably is a market for you giving out your autograph to people that have not requested it.
You could stand at stage doors, do that. You could go to premieres and do that.
Well, it's never happened to me, but I've heard of... I remember Ryan Giggs saying once someone came up to him and asked for his autograph, and he signed it, and they just ripped it up and threw it on the floor.
Oh.
And it was a sort of, it was a
sick
diss.
fun.
That's only as disrespectful as knitting in the second row.
I was all right with knitting in the second row. I mean, it was for Libya. For goodness sake. By the way, can I thank Patrick Field, who sent me a fabulous cosmonaut poster. You know, I'm a big fan of...
Oh, aren't you?
I'm an uneasy big fan of Soviet Russia and a more confident fan of the cosmonauts. And he sent me a fab poster and pointed out that it's the anniversary of Gagarin's flight on the 12th of April.
It's already in my diary. I've got the reminders sent.
I might go out that night and just look at the stars a bit.
Well,
just for 2 minutes.
If it's a full moon, just watch out, because people will be wild.
And he says, as a PS, thanks very much for sending a birthday card after I wrote to you recently for my daughter Ellie. She was really thrilled. What goes around, comes around. When I sent that card, it was just a gesture, but now I've got a cosmonaut poster as a result of it. What about that?
That's the most lunar statement you made. What goes around comes around.
Yeah. Actually, we did talk about waves. It's been a very lunar morning.
A lot of people have backed up that 7-wave theory of yours.
Well, Sarah's dad, apparently, who was a windsurfer, Sarah, the assistant producer, said that's surfer's law. Every 7th one is a big one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not Snow White's law.
Anyway, we need to talk about...
Hold on, Holly was about to give me a factoid.
Oh, were you?
Were you?
Oh, was I?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that.
Did we get to the bottom of the dangling...
yeah, well, someone has texted in.
Yes. Yeah.
I was saying that, in my opinion, that dangling strip at the back of cars which dragged on the road was to prevent travel sickness, as I understood it.
Well, I'm afraid Ian has... texted, strips hanging beneath cars were designed to discharge static electricity to stop you getting the static discharge you receive sometimes when you got out of a car and touched the car door. No need for sun strips these days, as newer car windscreens have them already incorporated.
Do they?
That's from Ian. Good info.
How often have you got a charge from a car door handle?
I've had a few.
I've had a few.
And lifts in hotels.
Oh.
I don't think I can't remember everyone from a car. Obviously, they're obviously open for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That could be
That's
it.
why.
I mean, you are driven.
That's why chauffeurs wear leather gloves.
Oh, and those thick rubber gum boots. Yeah. So it's
waders.
Nothing to do. Nothing to do with travel sickness.
That's not what.
You know what? I've been a damn fool.
We've also had a message. Hello, Frank and all. Have you ever seen vans or stickers with stickered arbitraries on them? very strange and informative, but how would you sell on the vehicle in the future? What do you guys think?
What's a stickered arbitrary?
I think he means, like, signage, the signs on vans. I think he's calling it stickered arbitraries.
Do you mean stuff like Dave Willis, roofer?
And I hate to dispel any myths that Adam has got, but I actually know some people that work in the sign writing business.
Oh, yeah.
And those peels that they put on vans, you can just take them off.
Just take them off.
Did I just go up to a car and peel off the stickered arbitrary?
That'd be funny.
Probably with the right tools.
Put it on another car.
Put it on an ambulance. And they'd say, oh, that roofer, he must be in a bit of a rush.
Yeah, you might need a scalpel to get started, like...
But that would put me... If I was buying anything and there was a sticker I thought I couldn't get off, that might stop me buying it. I mean, what about if I was buying a van and my intention was to leave tools in it overnight?
I always think that about those stickers that say baby on board. They should also have a sticker that says, no babies are stored in this car overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
And if there may be the odd pet, but we will leave the window down about 1/8 of an inch so they can breathe. They love a bit of narrow gap breathing.
They do.
They do. They've got the mouth for it, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Get right in there. They could lick the outer car if they had a mind to. If they're desperate for a dead gnat. Because it's protein. That's what you lose when you're in those cars sweating.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I mentioned that we need to talk about David Cameron. He's
did you mention that?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
I did. But it's fine. It's a movable feast, isn't it? This
I was so interested in car sickness.
This comedy lark. He's been spotted on...
I was nearly spotted this morning.
You're nearly splattered.
Yeah.
He's been spotted on an EasyJet flight. First of all, I think that's already news, but not only that, he had some Beats by Dr. Dre headphones, which are...
I know them.
You know them?
I own a
You
pair.
own them.
You own a pair?
I own a pair. What?
I think...
Are you going to wear them again after Cameron's been spotted wearing
Well,
them?
mine haven't
he
got
made
Union
them-
Jacks on. They're just they're white.
Not
Right.
patriotic enough.
No.
I find patriotism a bit complicated, so I didn't go for it. No, I was sent them, so I didn't get any choice.
You were sent.
Well, they were deliberately picking people who they knew could start a fashion craze.
Yeah, it's true. They chose me.
Do you think DC got sent his?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do you reckon?
He
Yes.
doesn't buy anything.
He doesn't buy anything?
Nah.
Really?
I reckon he gets everything for free.
No, I don't think. I think there's a limit on the gifts he can. If somebody sent him a
he'd have to
Cosmonaut
declare it.
poster, he'd have to especially declare it and stuff.
That's right,
He
yeah.
probably has so much paperwork at Christmas.
Oh, he's got. I bet he's got a spare room packed with Cosmonaut posters that have been sent him, which he doesn't feel that he's able to put up.
I bet somebody has sent him one of those, those sort of Segway things which you just stand on.
Oh yeah,
I bet you he's been asked to get
and I
A
bet-
hoverboard.
and
hoverboard.
and a big mouth Billy Bass singing fish.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't worry, I bet he's got one of them.
Yeah, and a global hypercolour T-shirt.
And all declared. All of it.
All of it
In
declared.
the parliamentary minutes.
Oh, well, I've got, like I say, I've got some Beats. I must admit, I don't wear them. Of course, I can't have Beats at the moment because I'm teeth whitening. I don't know that I've worn them in the street, to
Right.
be honest. But as you were saying earlier, Holly, men's ears get bigger as they get. So there is a logic to older men wearing those,
Do you know-
just to avoid flappage.
Do you know what ladies' ears protrude as they age?
I don't think so. No.
Just men's.
If you look at, you don't see old women with great big ears, do you?
I do, but that's... I look on specialist websites for that.
Oh dear, one of those big ear babes.
Big ear.
Big ear old babes, that's what I'm after. It's pretty niche, but hey,
ear-
we've
big
all
ear-
got our
it'd be,
predilection, guys.
Big ear matures.
Don't judge me.
I bet there's a site called Big Ear Mature. I'm not going to Google it. Who knows what might come up, but be elephants.
Well, what happens with women is that they often wear...
Oh, what happens with women? I've been wanting to know this for a long time.
Here we go. Drop my pen out.
Dangly earrings.
Come
and
on,
they
I'm all
tend-
ears. That's because I'm getting on a bit.
They tend to sort of stretch down the lobe, the earrings, after a few years. So that as they get older, they tend to get very elongated earlobes after many years of earring wearing.
Well, they could use that, couldn't they, as a sort of makeshift facelift. If they knotted them underneath the throat, they could hold in the dewlap.
The wattle.
You know the dewlap?
Yeah.
Isn't the wattle on the top of the chicken?
The thing
No, the
is,
wattle is a bit under.
I thought the wattle was on the top, that bit on the top. The red, thick sort of, you know, that sort of Mohican?
Yeah.
They have like a mohawk, the average chicken, like
I
a
think
red
Is that the wattle?
I think a wattle is underneath.
oh,
Isn't that a dewlap?
the dewlap is on cows, I think.
Take that back.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again, just as loudly. The dewlap is on
Oh,
cows.
come on. We'll have to go to adverts while we sort this out legally.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, DC David Cameron was heading off to Lanzarote for a break.
Oh, I thought he was coming back. He was going out with the
It
beats.
says, yeah, I
He
thought
went
it
out.
was.
He went out a day later. No, a day before with the kids, didn't he? And then Sam flew out a day later.
Is that right?
Nice.
Yeah, but he had his beats
All the
on.
holiday he'll be saying, well, come on. Every time he goes somewhere on his own on the holiday or he's on the phone, he'll say, come on, I brought him. I was with him
Yeah.
on my own on the plane.
Yeah.
He's obviously keeping an attentive watch on them. He's got a big pair of beats on. Wonder what he was... I must say, the last thing I think I listened to on my beats was the audio book of Russell's History of Western Philosophy.
And you think that's what he might have had on?
People assume you're listening to music, but
Yeah.
because there's all sorts of scope.
I think it should be music, though, if it's beats.
I know, but they were free, my beats.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there should be a separate headphones brand that's called, like, Words.
Oh, I see. What
you're
about
listening
if
to
I
beats.
listen... I have listened to the...
Vowels.
Yeah.
There's a book called Jack's Book, which is the story of Jack Kerouac, and he was a beat poet. Could I listen to that
Yeah.
on the beats?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Fine.
I'll tell you what I think David Cameron was listening to. I think he was listening to Europe, The Final Countdown. That's...
Oh, come
That's
on!
good.
There you go.
This boy. Why isn't he bigger?
This
I've always said it.
41-year-old man.
Why isn't he a household name?
I
patronising
mean, off the
at all.
back of that joke, I think he might be.
He might do. What about if that joke sent him through the stratosphere? You know, like that moment when... what's happened? Your chair's
Chair
broke.
collapsed.
See, that's it.
Sent me through the stratosphere, but downwards.
His head's-
Everything was
didn't
counted
expect-
against
Oh
him.
His
my
head's
God,
got
it's
so
going
big, his chair has collapsed. Could have been worse, could have been his neck muscles.
That's true, yeah. I quite like those. I like those as they are.
But I can't, I feel it's a bit unfair. What, the bloke's been sent some free headphones.
We assume.
Oh, well, no, I think it has been established that they were a gift.
I don't know. I mean, they retail at about 300 quid a pair, as you wouldn't know.
No. They're very nice, though.
Are they?
They're snog.
Are they?
Snog.
They're nice.
And when I look in the mirror...
Snug or snug?
They're soft on your massive old
They're
ears.
snog.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, they are soft on my massive old ears. And also...
That's what the quote on the box says.
But I do get earphone hair in my ears. Afterwards, it flattens down all the hair.
You what?
You know, when old men get hairy ears, so all the hair is flattened down by wearing them. It looks like a couple have been lying in a meadow.
Like a crop circle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that would be great if they left, like if they said dry. They could incorporate that. So they leave dry crop circles in your ear hair.
I like the idea of them. I've been thinking recently about going like over the ear, because I wear the little earbuds ones, which are good, but I lose them, and also I physically lose them.
In your ear?
Yeah, my left ear, they fall out of.
Oh, yeah, they're very annoying. though.
My ear canal on the left one is badly designed, I think, and it just drops out. So I'll be walking along.
That's happened to me. The ones that come with iPhones, or the smartphones are available, they just fall out to me.
They fall out of you.
They do. They completely fall out of me. They're like
tried a nostril.
windfall earplugs. So I like... and there's no... I mean, these are plain. He's gone for the most garish. That's why I think it was a gift. I think I read, they were Olympics... themed.
right,
that would make sense.
And all the British Olympic athletes were given them free.
I don't remember what his sport was. What was it?
Cameron's rowing. Definitely. Ironically enough.
Shooting.
Yeah.
Apparently he always keeps a derringer in the sock, so if ever he's shot at, he'll take the bloke down before he goes. That's what Elvis used to do.
Did he?
Elvis used to have a gun in his boot, so if he was shot as one of his Vegas gigs, he could shoot the bloke who...
Shot him.
All woman!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot back.
It was always one of my favourite images. Elvis, blood all over his jumpsuit, firing wildly into the crowd, taking people who really love him down as well as...
Isn't there an Andy Warhol of that? Similar.
Andy Warhol?
Isn't the portrait of Elvis with a gun the Andy Warhol screen print?
That's Elvis from, I think from Flaming Star. It's a still from the film with a gun, yeah.
Huh.
It's my little bit of inside information. Not that I'm inside Andy Warhol. Well, not as we speak.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
So we were talking about David Cameron. Is it all right for a man... How old is David? He's younger than me, David Cameron. Is he all right to wear beats? I wear my beats. I don't wear them in the street.
It's
you know what I'm talking about?
He's been accused of trying to look cool and failing.
That's why I don't wear them. But isn't that ageism at its very... Why shouldn't I wear them in the street?
I'm not sure if he is trying to look cool. I think he might be like me. He's had problems with the little in the earbud ones and losing them, and he's gone, I'm going to get a massive Union Jack
He's
pair.
on holiday as well.
And that way, if he loses them on the plane, the only other persons that they can be is Farage. And it's unlikely that he's going to go, yeah, they're mine. So it's fine, but...
It's also unlikely that Farage is going to go on holiday to Lanzarote.
Do you think... Yeah, he'd burn.
He would also only go as far as the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
They do look a bit gimme one time, though, for
what does that mean?
man at my age. A bit groovy and cool.
Right.
Well, this is the thing. Everyone's saying, has Cameron, put the nail in the coffin for beats being cool, but as I'm not that young person. I don't think they've been that cool
for a while.
Beats haven't.
So I think it's actually fair enough that beats can now be given to the generation above us to have and to enjoy.
I think it's the fact that he's wearing Union Jack ones makes it okay, as he's the Prime Minister. I mean, you know the way Obama always wears an American badge. You know, he wears the flag as a badge.
Yeah.
I think he set the precedent now that... Not the president. that, just in case you forgot who I'm the president of, here's the thing. Right. And I think Cameron's
like Eurovision.
I always think it's oversell, the American badge on Obama.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, I know. We guessed that.
Do you think if it's a sort of state tragedy, he has to wear it half-mast, he has to put it halfway down his blazer?
I don't know that.
Do you think if something bad happened in the UK, Cameron would have to wear those headphones
round underneath his armpits?
On his bicep,
that'd be brilliant if he did that trying to be respectful. He'd be tore apart. But mine are plain, just plain. They got no.
But you haven't worn yours outdoors.
They got no stickered arbitraries.
You got no arbitraries.
No. Maybe you could peel off somebody's stickered.
You know what? I'm thinking I'm going to start wearing them now. And
outdoors.
Yeah.
You don't think it's a coolness
I
issue?
don't like the oppressive. Oh, you're too old to wear them.
This is the first time David Cameron has inspired anyone to take up the fashion trend.
Yes, it's true. But I did. I did a fabulous grandad thing the other night at this gig. There was like a teenage girl in the front row who was, when I went on, was texting. Which is never a good. Mm-hmm. The same night as the knitter. I think that's why I was so genial with the knitter, because compared to texting,
right. Although she was knitting the words. I'm so bored. What are you doing?
Exactly. What are you? Just with the letter U.
Question mark, smiley
That
face.
would be great if she just knitted "Shall we go" and held it up to the person next to her.
What I'd like her to have knitted me was an act. That would have really come in helpful on the night. But anyway, I said this is like, and this wasn't comedy, this was just that when you make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I said, she was on, I said, you on Twitter? She said, yeah. I said, Facebook? She said, yeah. I said, you on that knapsack? I was trying to say Snapchat.
And you said knapsack.
I said knapsack. Now that surely is the moment when I'd be far better off. Far better off, I'd be far better off in a home.
That's your ringtone.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're still talking, I think. Are we still...
About what?
About David Cameron and his... Just generally that sense of what things you're not... You know, the other week I was on about... I said that I felt really self-conscious because I had a plastic bottle of water in the street. And I thought people were thinking, he's a bit old for that kind of thing.
What, plastic water? Plastic bottle of water?
Yeah. That's a young person's thing, isn't
it? Are you
it?
going to drink it out of, like, a hewn-out horn?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. No, I think that it's a young person's game, the plastic bottled water.
I think hydration is everybody's game.
Well, hydration is a modern trend. We didn't bother with hydration when I was
I can understand you not bothering with a straw, but I don't think you should worry about a bottle.
Well, I felt incredibly self-conscious about it, so I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Mm-hmm. I think I might be too old to add any jewellery now. I think, I mean, there's a bit of me that would quite like to add some jewellery, but I think if I came in here next week with, like, a necklace on, you'd all go, "You've started wearing a necklace, Alan," and then there'd be too much focus on it.
I don't think, because you're a sort of a pseudo-mod and often have the top button fastened.
I haven't done it today because it's warm.
I don't think we'd know.
I think I'm getting too old for a hoodie.
Oh, I had that. I had that worry.
I still wear a hoodie,
Yeah.
and I look like a monk's ghost
Right.
when I wear it.
I think you can come out the other side, though. I think you can probably feel like that for a while, and then at the other end you can start wearing hoodies again.
When?
A few years.
I'm not sure I'm anywhere near. Also, it's like they don't want to be on me. I've noticed that when I wear one with a coat, you know, when you wear one with a coat and you put the hood on outside the coat, it won't lie down. It looks like I got some sort of like a backdrop. And I think that's the hoodie saying, "No, stop wearing me now. You're this age."
Trying to leave you.
But I might need that hoodie if I'm hiding me beats.
That's true, yeah.
When
And
I'm
then
out.
if that bird flies past you again, you're wearing that hoodie.
Oh, it's
They caught it.
It's all.
What about long
my
hair?
end is my beginning.
What about long hair for me? Because I've battled with hating my own hair, and I've periodically shaved it off, but it always grows back. So I was considering going the other way and just never getting it cut again. But would I be, like, I don't know if I could wear a ponytail.
I think you have to be in a band, don't you, to be an older guy with long hair.
Well, I'm not going to be in a band. I'm not prepared to do that just to have long hair.
I mean, can I still wear those trainers that light up?
No, I'm not
what
sure.
What about the ones with little wheels in them?
I couldn't handle them with my joints.
Funnily enough.
But the ones that light up, you know, I'm nearing an age when I'm going to start wandering. As
Right.
the elderly do, you know, when they wander off. That might, if Kath was out searching for me in the early
That'd
hours,
help.
that could be a lifesaver.
That'd help.
Or
So
a
I wouldn't
lightsaber.
hear her with me beats. Wouldn't hear her calling.
I've been thinking about getting those, you know, those shoes that have,
I'd look like a disco if I went out me beats and...
you one-man disco, Frank Skinner.
you should be able to turn those round. So, you know, that people in cars have really loud music.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Alan.
I've been thinking of getting those shoes that are like gloves for your feet. You know, the ones with sort of...
I've got a pair of those.
You haven't.
I have.
Like 5 fingers or whatever
Yeah.
they're called.
A friend of mine had those.
Oh.
She said, you can never stand in some dog waste.
No.
And ever, it's the worst experience of your life.
Because it seeps in.
It's the worst. She said it's the worst thing that ever happened to her foot.
Wow, she's lucky.
Yeah, what a great life.
That's the worst
sounds
thing.
brilliant.
Her foot.
It's the worst thing that happened to her foot.
Yeah.
Now, I found
Not a verruca? Nothing.
It's worse than that.
when my eyesight started to go, you know when you do that thing where you have to hold things quite away from you?
Yeah.
Right.
It means I could prop it up at the end of the bed and turn the pages with my feet with those shoes on, which was a godsend. What do atheists call a godsend?
Just a send.
Oh, that's rubbish. They need to get
They just
a
call
new...
it something good.
They need a new prefix.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text from Dan on the M4. A wise man I work with, we'll be the judge of that. A wise man I work with always says that as soon as you let new technologies or youth trends surpass you, then you begin to prematurely age yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
He needs to, if he's going to be a wise man, he needs to get a bit pithier with his quotable phrases.
And also, that wise man sounds like he might be the old git in skateboarding trousers in work. Like, you can't.
No, I think there's a lot of prejudice at that end.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to stop.
I'm bringing a lot of that to this. Yeah.
I've had to stop rolling up one leg on my trousers.
Yeah?
It doesn't work with a suit.
No. True.
But if I did that, if I came in with some tracky bottoms and one leg rolled up, you'd feel you had to comment, wouldn't you?
Well, if you were wearing a sort of handkerchief with knots in each corner on your head as well, then I think you'd just look like a sort of man from the 50s on a beach.
You'd assume I'd left with two legs rolled up and one had just
flop down.
Exactly.
No, it's a prejudice though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't often back David Cameron, but on this one.
Someone tweeted in and said, Ben Roberts tweeted in and said, hip hop on the karaoke. That's a very good... there's a certain age where you can't pull that off.
I don't know if I could have ever pulled that off. Do people actually rap to karaoke?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That destroys the whole point of it, doesn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Well, the whole point is that some people can sing well and some people can't, and let's watch that happen. But if you're going to come on and just, talk with gusto, which I think is a fair summary of what rapping is.
I think you've just automatically counted yourself out of listening to beats with hip-hop on it.
No, I've always thought, though, when when you get a singer comes on and does, like, a brilliant vocal, and then a rapper suddenly comes out from the wings and does that rapping bit in the middle.
Like Pitbull.
Well, whoever it would be. So you get Mary J. Blige and she's on stage in the ooh, yeah, ooh. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes out, and I went down, and I went to... I've often thought, wouldn't it be brilliant if she had never heard hip-hop? And said, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's not good enough. Not just that sort of talking with gusto.
So you've never rapped in your life?
I mean, I like rap, but I don't think it's right for karaoke.
Mm.
I
You
think
prefer it for rap battles, don't you?
I like a rap battle.
In garages.
I was
and
talking to DJ Nahal on Asian Network this week, and he does some of those rap battles. They are abusive. I mean, they are extreme. They say terrible things to each other. I mean, terrible things.
All right, Grandad.
It's like roasting. It's like roasting.
It is, yeah, but in rap form, in rhyming form.
Yeah, but I don't like it. That suggests that in us all is a sort of an internet comments person. There's a troll in everyone, and I don't like to think that that's true. 8, 12, 15. If you want to say something really horrible to me, because I don't read them. So what you like? No, mate, no, really.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alun, Cochrane, and Holly Walsh is with us this morning. You can text the show on 8 12 15, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio webby.
We were going to discuss the story about Kay Burley, who's in the news.
Kay Burley?
She's a newsreader, isn't she?
I know
She's
on the Sky.
She's been ridiculed this week because she complained on the social media about having spent £130 on a bottle of wine and then not being allowed to drink it in a posh restaurant And
they took it. Did they not take it away before she finished it?
Oh, is that what happened?
No, I think they were told she could finish it, but not at the table. They needed the table, so she had to move to the bar to finish it.
So it's not really much of a story in that sense of.
Well, again,
she's
it's
really kicking
ridicule.
off.
It's ridicule for not very much, I would say. When you think of the things people could be ridiculed for, if you're into ridicule.
If you're into ridicule.
I gave up ridicule as a New Year's resolution.
In 1987 when you started stand-up.
Yeah, there's no place for it in stand-up.
No, absolutely not. You're right. You've got to have a rule.
Yeah, so she bought. I think it's the old first world problems. I think
that's what people were saying. Yeah.
The thing is, there has to be a level above first world problems when you're hashtagging the Chiltern Firehouse, which is the most exclusive restaurant in London at the moment. I mean, there's first world problems. Is that why they were
rushing her out?
And then there's otherworldly problems, and that's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is problems. If something's making someone melancholy, they're entitled to bring it up, aren't they?
Yeah, even Kay Burley's allowed to be unhappy about not drinking her wine. You're right.
I mean, how much is wine? I have no idea. Is this a lot of money for wine?
130 is on the steep side for wine,
I honestly don't. I would not know. You know, there's these celebrities, they don't know how much a pint of milk is. I don't know how much a bottle of wine is. Mm-hmm. I don't drink. I haven't drunk for nearly 30 years. How much
Your time, yeah.
If I went into a supermarket for an average bottle of wine, how much would I pay?
I mean, it depends.
You don't know either.
No. If you went to, say, Aldi...
Yeah.
You'd be paying anything up to 30p. If you were going to, say, Waitrose...
You're not thinking of milk?
But what's average?
A pint of wine.
I'd say
£6.
Yeah, people probably for...
What? Wait, there's a lot of faces. Is that expensive?
I thought people paid that for a pint
You'd say that's top level.
£6 would be cheap and cheerful, wouldn't it?
No, that's average, I think. Average.
But if you were taking it to a dinner party... If I was taking a bottle to a dinner party, I would probably spend 12 just so that people didn't look down their nose at me.
That's ridiculous. Come on, £12.
I wouldn't take wine. I hate wine. The whole concept
I don't really...
wine.
I don't do this.
People walk into a shop and say, I want some wine. Well, do you?
You like alcohol-free wine. Don't stop pretending you don't love it.
Wine.
What do you take when you go to a dinner party?
I take non-alcohol stuff. I don't want to encourage them.
Take barley water with you.
Why ruin my evening by them helping them to get drunk and dull?
Okay, but what do you take? Like a ginger beer?
I'll take some snacks, some healthy snacks.
Yeah.
Some crudités.
Almonds.
I might take some almonds. Yeah.
Gojo berries.
Frank goes to a dinner party like he's attending a picnic. He brings his own stuff.
I'd take a goji if I wouldn't be afraid of that. And then I might take a non-alcoholic wine or one of those fancy drinks. But I'm not,
I think it's all right for her to complain about it. I did, when she was mocked on the Twitter and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I could spend my money on..." She said, "Oh." She said, I thought I could spend my money how I liked, and I think that's fair enough. But
just get him.
I think she should have chugged it down there at the table, right there, just out the bottle, right into her neck.
I think she should have said, well, it's only wine. Who cares?
I carry a funnel with me exactly for that moment. If I've really got if I've got to drink half a bottle of wine and I'm being rushed in a restaurant, I just jam the funnel in and pour it in like that.
That's not true, is it?
No. I decant it into a plastic bottle that I might have earlier.
That's a good idea.
And then enjoy it over the next 2 or 3 days.
Do you know what? I was in a well-known coffee shop on a services the other day, and this I think he was a truck driver. He'd probably just had the full shirt off wash in the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And he got his proper coffee from a coffee shop poured into his flask for later. Hadn't even thought of that.
Good idea.
Hadn't even thought of that.
That is a good idea.
She could have done that. She could have had a little flask with her.
She should have taken a flask.
Oh, why?
If she can spend £130 on a bottle of wine, she can spend $8.99 on a flask.
I like to decant it into a lady's slipper and drink it from that.
To go.
A hewn-out horn.
To go.
Hewn-out horn sounds like somebody might read the news.
In Wales.
Yeah. It's probably a TV show in Wales. And now it's time for episode 7 of Hewn-out Horn. I think we'll stop there.
I worry about what you've just said in Welsh now.
I've probably just said, have you finished hewing? They never finish hewing in Wales, of course. It's packed with them. Now, there was Hugh and you in that.
And you
Multiple.
and you.
You and yours. It's Radio 4.
That's what they could. If it's a programme about Wales, they could say you and Hugh and you and Hugh.
Yeah.
And Hugh
And of course at the coalface, and you Hugh at the coalface as well. You could have the two Hughs and a you, all in that you and you.
And a colour.
Yeah. What's the colour of Wales?
Green.
8, 12, 15.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what, this story has made me feel. I'm glad I'm not on the Twitter personally, because I think I would make similar type gaffes as not the £130 wine.
I can't imagine that.
I wouldn't spend that much, but. You know, I was recently in a hotel, ordered room service. They said, "Would you like a drink with that?" And one of the things I'm most proud about my adult life is that I've started to drink sparkling water. It's a real, achievement for me. And I said, "Yeah, I'd like a large sparkling water, please." They brought up the dinner. I opened the sparkling water. Nothing. Still. It was still water. And I was #gutted. And I think if I was on the Twitter, I would have complained about that, because I told about 4 people in the following 48 hours about I ordered sparkling water and I got still, and I was really upset. And I just think people would have been like, "Oh, Alun, with your first world problems, poor you, your water wasn't sparkling."
Yeah, do you think the Africans care?
Exactly, yeah, there would have been a lot of that.
Yeah, walk to the well, 18 miles,
Exactly.
still water.
Yeah.
But they'd be still water, exclamation mark, because they'd be happy.
Yeah.
There's still water.
Yeah, there you go.
Totally.
It
And I
took
think
me
I would have been
years-
pilloried.
On the sophistication front, it took me years to say sparkling water. I always used to say, I always said fizzy.
I say fizzy.
Yeah, I find some people, if they're sometimes working in bars, there are people who are not natives of the country. And if I said fizzy, they'd say, what's that? So then I'd have to say sparkling. And in the end, they've broken me down. Is that fair?
No.
Phone Nigel Farage on TalkSport. I don't think he's on TalkSport, is he? He could be all right on there. I just think her argument was, can I not spend my money on what I want to spend it on, which is reasonable,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Sure.
And also, if you're eating at the Chiltern Firehouse, I'm sure... I mean, I haven't been, but I'm sure £130 for a bottle of wine is low end. Probably house wine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I once spent 1,500 quid on a bottle of wine.
Oof.
Hello? As a gift. I was buying it as a gift for my manager. We'd been together for some 20 years.
Does he know how much you'd paid for it? Is it
does
I'll,
now.
I'll say he does. No, I
You
tell him.
left the receipt.
No, one thing you have to do if you buy someone a 1,500 quid bottle of wine is you have to say, this is a 1,500 quid bottle of wine I bought you, because it's a real cruel act to have someone drink a bottle of wine not knowing that it's a 1,500, because the whole excitement of it is that it's an expensive.
But yeah, but because, he could have been at home and they could have been cooking, and his wife would have said, "You haven't got any red wine for the old
that
spag
bottle
bowl."
of Frank looked a bit dusty. So use that up. But when I carried it into town, when I used to live about 25 minutes from the West End, and we were meeting to celebrate our anniversary. And we'd been together a long time. I was happy to spend the money on him. And I wasn't going to drink any on... but I walked in and it was quite crowded in London, obviously. Oh. And I looked like a 1920s anarchist, clutching this thing like I'd got a homemade bomb in there. I thought, if somebody just knocks my shoulder and I drop this, I'm going to physically attack that person.
Yeah.
It was one of the most nerve-wracking walks.
I saw one of the saddest things I've ever seen. We were on a tube. The tube stopped abruptly. The train stopped abruptly. Someone who was standing up fell over onto a box which had a wedding cake in it and squashed the cake.
Was there incidental music? Did it go, wow?
That was so awful.
Could that possibly be a real thing? You actually saw that?
I actually saw it, and it was absolutely... I mean, the fallout was horrendous.
And this is a woman who hates British sitcoms.
Yeah.
And that one was a classic moment.
I love British sitcoms.
You like American sitcoms.
I like all things.
Told you wouldn't.
You don't
forgive
like all things.
I like
all things?
I like all things. You name
Do
one
you like
thing.
oppressive regimes?
In a way.
Well, in a way, yeah. We all do. Takes all that decision-making out of life.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a couple of texts. One just hot off the press. Hi Frank, about the wine. My husband once told me he was in an expensive restaurant and somebody left a small amount of wine as a tip for the waiter. Maybe the waiter was just after her wine.
I've never heard of a wine tip.
Actually, that is true. If you are buying a £15,000 bottle of wine,
Yeah.
and it's like super good stuff, if you were to give somebody a tiny glass of it, a thimble,
Yeah.
that would be quite I mean, I actually know a guy who's a wine seller.
Oh, yeah.
Off
He's a seller.
An off licensee.
He lived downstairs.
People store wine in him, and he went round to his friend's house who opened a £45,000 bottle of wine.
Whoa.
And the guy said, "You can have a tiny sip, just to like have an experience of
Just
it."
have the anecdote.
Yeah, I mean that's like even a sip is like a 40 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, what a thought.
Yeah, but like when I worked on bars when I was younger, if somebody had said,
What, when you're in prison?
Yeah. If somebody had said, "Oh, we've left you this wine as a tip," back then I would have gone, "I don't drink wine. Could I have the money?" I'd rather have the money. Like,
I know you'd rather
put
have
£3
the money.
on a tray or something.
You know when barman and someone says, "Hey, get yourself a drink."
Yeah.
They do it in American accents.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Well, then you just go, "Oh, cheers." You're not going to drink that drink there and then.
No.
You just put £3.50 or whatever in a tin,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but they're not
Yourself.
thinking 1,500 quid bottle of wine, are they? If you said, "Oh, thanks very much, I'll have a 1961 Chateau Lafite." No,
The house of feet.
that's what I bought this bloke. This is my
Is it?
manager.
That sounds revolting.
Chateau Lafite.
I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
the feet from '69.
Yeah, and then the guy say, "No, I just meant like a beer, maybe."
We've also had a text from 142. I asked for carbonated water and the waitress said, "We've only got still or sparkling."
Oh, marvellous.
Have you got eating out bugbears? One of mine is when they give you a choice of how you'd like to have your food and then judge it. So I was feeling a bit unwell and I ordered lamb and the waitress said, "How would you like it cooked?" And I said, "Oh, medium to medium well." And she went, "Kill it twice, yes?"
Oh.
And I was thinking, well, don't give me a choice. If there's a best choice, just bring it to me in the best way. Don't offer me the decision and then mock my decision.
Just mind your own business was the phrase.
Totally.
used to be
A friend of mine who was pregnant asked for a steak.
Keep it light.
I will. And they said, "How do you want that?" And she said, "Medium." And they said, "Shouldn't you have it well cooked?" And she said, "No, I think you can have it medium. I think that's all right." And even if she wanted it rare, it's not illegal. It's her choice completely.
Yes.
And he went, "I won't serve that to you." And she said, "It doesn't matter. It's not illegal, whatever. I mean,
That's true,
maybe
yeah.
you've got a point, but you shouldn't be saying that to me." And they had a huge argument.
Well, the flip side, and she got so upset. Now, the flip side was, I was with Daisy, our producer, I was in a restaurant with her, and she was...
Excuse me.
That's quite all right. He's allergic to anecdotes.
It's a very difficult show for me.
It is. It's very difficult. And Daisy was, I don't know how far gone she was, but she was apparently pregnant. You know, you could see. She was showing, I think is the phrase they use. And she ordered a goat's cheese salad, and the waiter said, I don't think you can have goat's cheese. And
It's the same bar that I was in there.
Yeah, and but it's a Saturday night special club. And he said, "I don't think you can have goat's cheese." And she said, "Oh God, yeah, I'd forgotten that." So in fact, that he did the same thing, but it was very helpful. And that's
Yeah, it's
because
difficult.
Daisy's a more positive person who sees the good in people.
That's
Right.
right.
Not just shoots them down when they're actually trying to, look after you and your child. Next.
Well,
What about this for a K, Burley? I bought... The BBC shop closed down this week.
Uh-huh.
and you bought
You
it
love the BBC
And now...
shop.
for your manager as a 22-year anniversary present.
Yeah, I've bought it, and we're going to sell camping equipment. I bought it... no, I didn't. I bought a box set called The Tenant Years.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
And it's every episode... there's complications because he returned. But let's say it's basically every episode that Tennant did as the Doctor. So I bought that, 40 quid, reduced from 100 quid. 40
Not bad.
quid.
Not bad.
40 quid I paid.
60% off, I make that.
I think it's 26 CDs.
That's
40 quid. I already had every one of those episodes on, the single
Flagrant.
CDs and
Absolutely
stuff. But I just said I'd
flagrant.
like the box set. You can condemn me for that.
I think
But-
you were seduced by the deal there, Frank.
Yeah, I was suggesting, but so what? I'm living the dream.
Yeah, but that's the reduced to clear whole. That's the whole philosophy of
I don't
it,
think
isn't
that's
it?
what people
No, but
mean
now
by
I've
living
got-
the dream.
Yeah,
Now I've got
seduced by
it is in our house. Now I've got the Tennant years and
Twice.
in a lovely little box set.
Yeah, and you've got them as well in another set.
Yeah, and that what's wrong with that if I can afford it?
Well, I
True
just
enough.
that money could have gone somewhere else to Libyan quilts.
Yeah.
It could.
I just
Well, I'll
remixed
tell you
my
what,
own.
I'll burn them off the Tennant years and send that over. What about that? Should they don't just want to hodl all night, they want a bit of entertainment
Could
as
sit
well.
and watch old Doctor Who's.
It's very patronising, the idea they wouldn't enjoy the Tennant years. I think a lot of people think he's the best Doctor Who ever. 8, 12, 15.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Holly, how has your week been?
Oh, I'm in trouble. I'm worried. I'm very worried. What happened was I bought a book off a well-known website, a large website that supplies. But you know what?
eBay.
No, it actually was Amazon.
All right.
But they just say, you could buy it new or buy it used, and then sometimes they sell it for like 1p. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, it was like $13.99 new or 1p used. It was like a
It
really-
wasn't actually 1p, was it?
It was 1p. Yeah, it was 1
Plus delivery, yeah.
Yeah, plus delivery.
That's not ink delivery. That would be a
How
terrible
does that
business
work
plan.
then? So does you
They charge you
what the price in the
£2.80
delivery?
for
Yeah,
the-
so it was £2.81.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm not aware of that phenomenon. None of that with the
Phenomenon.
Tennant years, because the BBC shop, God rest its soul, didn't charge postage in the UK.
Right.
That is
Because
good.
they were so desperate to get me. Although if you sent it to Libya, you would have had to pay that.
You know the thing
Excessive.
about the deal being brought in by the deal? 2 days after I bought it, it went down to 20 quid. That's one of the worst things that's ever happened to me.
Well done. Lucky you.
Yeah. So anyway,
So I bought this book, and it was a book I really wanted to read. When I opened it up,
I think we could. I'd love to know what the book is.
it's called Then We Came to the End. It's brilliant.
Okay, short? Is it?
No, it's long.
Okay.
It was a hardback as well. I opened it up. It had a library stamp inside it, and it wasn't Amazon that sold me. It was a supplier for Amazon.
Right.
A library stamp inside it, but no. Sometimes they put a stamp in if they've sold it to say decommissioned. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Just the library stamp.
Like a stamp that sort of says no longer a library book.
No, but this one
it
didn't have it.
that.
It just had the library stamp, and then it also had the stamps from when it had been taken out, and it had been taken out fairly recently.
Oh,
So I think somebody had sold me a library book, and I feel terrible about this.
What about? would
man,
it
you
be?
are going to owe so much money for that book.
No,
Yeah.
because
Like,
surely it's the
you
seller
only
who
paid a
does.
penny for it, but when you take it back, that's going to be like 25 quid or 130. You could have bought a bottle of wine in the Chiltern Firehouse instead.
Is there a possibility? What about this? That there's a few local libraries being closed down.
Yeah.
Is that the idea that someone who was short of money went in there and thought, well, it's closing down soon anyway.
Yeah.
What about if I take a few books? It wouldn't really be stealing.
Well, it still is, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happens to the books of a library that's closed down?
They have to burn them
Do they?
out of
right.
respect.
Just like the old days.
It is.
Yeah.
The burning of books. It got a
I
bad
thought
rep,
that had gone, the
Yeah.
burning of books.
but no.
It's back.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like it is a stolen library
It's the
book.
So do you think
Nazis
I should get in
have
touch with the librry and tell
think-
them I've got their book and I
No,
had it
I think
for
this is a
1p?
999 call. Definitely. That's what
I
that
think
whole
it would
number was
be-
invented for.
It would be great to get in touch with the library.
Well, I'll do that then.
But-
it's actually walking distance. Weirdly,
Or just get in touch with the police.
A private investigator?
Maybe a private investigator would be the way to do it.
Definitely.
That'd be great. I don't know what he'd investigate exactly.
So I'm adding a lot on to my 1p purchase.
Private investigators don't tend to advertise with the no job too small slogan that handymen do, but if they did, this would be right up their street,
You know
wouldn't
what?
it?
When I said that about private, I realised I've never had an awareness of there ever being a female private investigator.
Oh.
You must get those.
You must, but they're very private, both
They are
male and
private.
female.
They are both private and investigative in their nature. Private investigators.
their thing.
So they're in the right job. We're not knocking them for that. It's an interesting moral dilemma.
I'm not sure what to do, because I feel like I'm handling stolen goods.
Mm-hmm.
But you might not be. There might be an explanation.
You're too trusting, I think, of these people who are trying to make money off the system.
I'm not so much trusting as I'm trying to get out of having to do anything about it if it was me. If it was a book I really wanted and only paid a penny for it.
And now we're at the end. Or
Then we
whatever
came
it's
to
called.
the end.
Yeah. Ironically, that it's called that and it's a long book.
Yeah.
And it's called And Then We Came to the End.
Well, you might never get to the end
Yeah.
before the police kick the door in.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had an answer to Holly's dilemma about the possibly stolen, possibly not book that she's to read to the end of. Holly, read the book and then contact the library. End of dilemma, and you fulfil the title of the book.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And
then it
the
says-
purpose of the library.
And then it says karma. I don't know if it is karma, but...
From Boy George.
Yeah.
It's been cut off.
this
It's just
is
about
the-
to say, come on.
This is the only... I have it's quite a long book, and now I've said it on the radio. I'm assuming the police are on their way to my house as we speak.
I mean, you could learn speed reading, which, that'll cut it down, won't it?
I think as long as they know it's coming back, I think that'll be fine.
Well,
Where
do
is
you
the
think that-
library? Which library? Is it a long way away, the
No,
library?
actually, it's quite near my house.
So
Such a weird twist of fate.
It
Do a
is a
pop
weird.
in. Do a pop in.
I could pop in, and I'm going to. And I'm
Yeah.
going to get to the bottom of this. And if it is, and I do find out it's stolen, I'm going to give them bad ratings, and I'm going to say this was a stolen book that they sold to me for
That's
quite right.
1p.
Quite right. And then you will get someone come round your house. Smash your face in. Imagine the sort of people that are stealing library books are not going to think twice about hitting a woman in the face.
Oh.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Did you see the story this week about the man who got into an argument with himself? And on Twitter, text. He texted him. No, he tried to call himself, and then he saw he had a missed call. No, sorry, no, this is what happened, right? So he was drunk, and he needed to call his friend, and someone accidentally gave him his own number.
Right.
He then tried to call the number. It didn't pick up, obviously, because it was his number. He then looked at his phone and said, "You've got a missed call." He then texted saying, "I tried to call you." Then tried to call the number again. Saw he had
Got
another
missed
missed
calls.
call.
Yeah.
Then got into a protracted debate with himself
Well,
over
I
the
think
course of the evening.
Stop
The
calling
text
me, I'm
came-
calling you. Stuff like that.
But the text came back.
You
I
get a
didn't know.
text saying missed call now.
No, but I know. But he also got when he said, I'm trying to call you." He got a text back that said, "I'm trying." He got that
I'm trying to
text
call
come
you.
back to him. I didn't
Yeah.
think you could text yourself, but he would have read it slightly differently.
Yeah.
Because he would have read it as, "I'm trying to call you."
Yeah. Like, you put down the phone. You put down the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in the olden days, you used to be able to text landlines.
No,
These
in the
aren't the real
believe
olden
me,
days.
in the olden days, you didn't used to be able to text.
Text landlines.
Oh, I
Do
loved
you
that. I
you could
loved the
text a
texting landline days.
and then you'd listen back, and it would say, "Hello,
It was a great
I'm
way.
trying to find you."
It was a
Whatever.
great way of making a robot
It's quite-
swear at a loved one, wasn't it?
But if you sent a text, supposing you could do that by mistake, in the past I have sent a text to a landline, thinking I'm trying to contact
To a
them.
landlord.
To a landline.
Okay. You've texted a landline.
You
Can
used
that
to be
done?
able to text a landline.
And did it speak?
Yeah, it would. You'd pick up the phone and it would be, "Hi, this is Frank. You are nearly there." Or whatever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was good fun.
You see, when I was drinking, there were no mobile phones. So I never had any of these experiences.
Isn't that a stroke of luck?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I was very, very glad when I was drinking that there were phone boxes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have had to urinate in the street. But
There's no dignity in that.
no.
Whereas in a phone box...
In a phone box,
It's classy.
it's different.
Real classy.
But it's such a danger. I mean, I shudder to think the things I would have texted to people and stuff if I'd been in my drinking days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I probably wouldn't be here now. Be in prison.
From text messaging.
Well, you don't know what was in my head in those days. Oh, but I was all so simple then. Time has rewritten every line. If we had the chance to do it again, could we? Who is this? That's the sort of calls I'd be making. Just me singing Memories by Barbra Streisand. Okay.
This story, my question, as with so many of these stories when they hit the tabloids, is how did it get to the newspapers? Like, is he a self-arguer and a self-promoter? Did he do a silly thing and then the next day go, hey guys, I did a silly thing, why don't you all talk about
That
it?
means he could have staged it.
Could have. I wasn't suggesting that. I just think he might have done a silly thing and then gone, oh, why don't I tell everyone? Do you think that's what's happened?
I think what people do is they just put it on Twitter or whatever. Look how stupid he is. And then, you know, I reckon all of those papers just trawl everything that gets retweeted over 20 times.
Goodness, what a job.
Oh, the modern world.
Yeah, it has. This story proves that the modern world has become too complicated for people, hasn't it?
On every level, this story does.
Yeah.
From the guy who managed to call himself and have an argument with himself to the fact that it's become national news.
But it's educational. I didn't know you could either call yourself. I didn't know you could call yourself or text yourself. I did not know that.
I email myself a lot.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
You see, I don't even know how to
There's reminders.
I
Yeah,
can't put on caps lock on my.
I don't believe that.
I cannot put on cap lock.
You don't know? Is that because you're...
Cap lock, by the way, is not an extra branch of protection. Go on.
Do you have a faulty keyboard or is it...
No, I don't know how to do it. I've never worked out.
I'm looking at a caps lock button in front of me. It's just a button.
No.
It's pretty easy to read. It says
gonna look at
caps
it
lock
now.
on it.
I'd say, actually, of all the buttons in that area, that's one of the most easily...
But you're looking at your... I'm on about on my phone.
Oh, on your phone, right.
Well,
it's all right.
We could show you that over breakfast.
Can you?
But you may be interested to know that for a time, the voice that did the landline texts, if you sent a text to a landline, it says that Phil in Leeds has said that the voice was Tom Baker, so you could text to yourself and
Tom
it would
Baker
be Tom
would
Baker
phone me.
speaking.
That would be brilliant.
That would be brilliant, but those days have gone.
Calling Tom Baker.
Those days have gone, I'm afraid. They were what Hollywood describe as the olden days.
The olden days.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah.
So, oh, great, though. That'd be brilliant. I have a call from... Just imagine Tom Baker calling you up.
Can.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you, Holly, for joining
Thanks
us
so much for
today.
having
You were
me.
wonderful as ever. You're always wonderful, Alan. I don't even bother mentioning it.
Tar. I'll take that. And you, Frank. You did all right, too.
Like old Father Thames. I just keep rolling along. Or is that Old Man River? Text on a postcard.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.